Hello plant community, thanks for tuning into this channel. My name is Pam, and today you guys we're going to talk about our thirsty loving plants, the plants that need a little bit more attention than the regular plants that we have in our collection. Now of course you guys, we have the prayer plant and of course the spathiphyllums, which are known to be very thirsty plants, which take up the majority of our time. But I don't want to talk about them. I'm going to talk to you guys about 5 other plants outside of calathea, prayer plants, as well as peace lilies that I have in my collection that just needs equal amount of attention and are just as thirsty loving as the 2 I just named. So let's just jump right into it. So real quick, in no particular order, I'm going to start off with this asparagus fern. Now, this is one of my newly acquired plants. I have not had it in my collection too long. I know it's not traditionally what we would consider to be a fern, but that's the species name that is given. But I have noticed, I've had it for probably about 2 months, and I have noticed that I have to maintain the moisture level of this baby or it will start to slightly crisp up. And I think I've been doing a pretty good job with managing that, as long as I keep in mind that I have to treat this plant no different than I do in regards to my prayer plants as well as my peace lilies in regards to watering. But I really am loving this plant. It's a very fun plant, I think. And I don't have any ferns in my collection because I do know that they require a lot of light, a lot of maintaining of the moisture, as well as humidity in some cases. But this plant, for the most part, has been pretty easygoing as long as I maintain the water. But isn't it just beautiful, you guys? I saw this at Lowe's, I believe, and I was a little skeptical in getting it. I said, oh, why not? Because it's been on the back of my mind, you guys, to actually get this plant. And I said, you know what, let me just go ahead and get it. And so far, so good. I hope I don't have any problems out of it. It's sitting in here in my sunroom and it loves it. And like I said, as long as I remember to water it when the first inch of the soil is slightly getting dry, I'm doing good. My next plant, you guys, is actually bear with me, is a syngonium. For me, my syngoniums that I have, I don't have a lot of them. I probably have a total of 5. I'm not quite sure exactly which one this is, but it is a beautiful specimen. And one thing I say, it is very moisture loving. As long as I give this plant water, really all of the plants that I'm about to show you guys, when 1 inch of the soil is dry, I tend to make sure that I'm giving it a drink. And I haven't went wrong with keeping that theory in regards to these plants. But this one is a very beautiful and full plant. I love the daintiness of the leaves. I'm not sure if this is a, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not too, my knowledge as far as the names of these syngoniums, there's so many of them out there. But I don't know, this isn't a jet berry, is it? Or berry, something or another. Comment below, you guys, if you happen to know the name of this beauty. But yeah, plant number 2. Some of these plants live in this sunroom and some don't, you guys. And really, when I take plants from out of my home and bring them here, I'm sitting them down on the floor. I'm trying to make sure that I don't damage any of the leaves in the process. So sometimes it can be a little challenging there. So bear with me. But plant number 3, you guys, is actually, of course, you can't mention syngoniums, in my personal opinion, without making a mention of begonias. And I've showed you guys my begonia rex. I only have probably like a total of 3 begonias in my collection, and this is one of them. This is my begonia maculata, and I have it in this pot, which is considered like a cash pole, but very decorative. But inside of it, you guys, I actually have it in this green nursery pot. So one of the things that I have noticed that works for me to maintain moisture in my moisture loving plants is to either, one of them is actually putting them either in a glazed pot or keeping them like in a plastic pot. For me, it tends to work as far as me maintaining the moisture. This plant to me requires a little bit more light, so I'm having it really sitting on the floor behind me, right below my Sansi light that's here. And I just watered it yesterday, and the leaves will crisp up and they will fall off. Hence why you see it looks kind of bare down at the bottom, but it's extremely full at the top. And I'm not sure, I'm debating on whether or not to cut it. But you know me, you guys, if it's not broke, why fix it? And I don't want to risk hurting this plant or damaging this beautiful foliage just because of these bare stems down here. So I may just treat it as like a tree, like a focal point, or I may just take one cutting just so that I can test it out. You know, I do have a piece of this in just water, and it's growing water roots. But yeah, I'm not sure. Y'all comment below, let me know what y'all would do. I think I'm gonna leave it as is because, like I said, if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's still beautiful the way that it is, and it's still beautifully full at the top. And one of my favorite parts, you guys, of course, those red backs. You know I am a sucker for the red back, so of course I had to make a mention of this plant. But it's very thirsty. I give it a drink when 1 inch of the soil is dry as well, and I really haven't been having any issues with it so far. All right, so my next plant, I'm actually going to show you 2 different kinds, and they are pileas. Yes, let me see. You've seen this one. This is my Pilea grandifolia coral one. That is just massive in growth, you guys. For me, I gotta say, out of the pileas that I do have, granted, if I miss a watering, the leaves will totally blacken and crisp up on me, and I have to wind up pulling them off. But I can say, just as fast as they're willing to crisp up and dry off and fall off, it's equally as fast in growth, at least under my care. I've had this plant now going on for I think 2 years, you guys, and it's a very beautiful plant. I really love the blooms. It's always blooming all the time, really. And I love the color, and I love the texture of the leaves. That's one of the reasons why I love pileas, mainly because of some of the textures. I'm a sucker for textures and shapes and things like that. But this plant, you guys, shoot, I don't even think it's probably my #1 thirstiest plant, because it seems like I can't even really let this plant, in regards 1 inch of the soil, to actually dry out before I have to give it a drink. And but as you can see, I mean, I have it tied because this thing is growing wild, you guys, and I have to control it in some form. Like, I know at some point, like up here, I may have to do something like pin it up, but right now I am admiring the wild look that it's giving me. It's giving me that jungle vibe, that safe jungle vibe, actually, that we desire in our homes. And so, yeah, the Pilea. And this is also I can't pull it out, guys, without risking hurting this plant because it's extremely top heavy. But it didn't come in this pot. I just put it in here because it's becoming top heavy. I needed something heavy. But I actually have this plant in a plastic pot, which helps hold on to moisture a little bit longer, in my personal opinion. I also have this other Pilea that I wanted to share with you, which is not as vigorous in size, but still loves the water nonetheless, and that is this dark mystery one. I haven't had this plant long at all, you guys, and look, I put it in a self-watering pot. It has no water in it now, so I need to put some water in here when I get finished with this video. But one thing that I have noticed, you know, Pileas, even though they can grow vigorously and very full, they do have very fine a fine root system, and it's actually like a little line of roots growing through the bottom of it. You probably can't see it, it's so fine. I don't think the camera's going to pick it up. I really love the color of this. Of course, like I said, the texture is a little hard like cardboard feel and has rippling edges, but I really love the color. And one thing I've noticed, is not very spectacular in my personal opinion, but right here, you guys, it's like a little bloom. I just noticed that the other day when I was just taking inventory of the plants in this room, and I was like, oh wow, that's kind of a neat feature. But it was declining a little bit, you guys, when I first got it. You know, I paid probably like $5.98 for this. You know, these are the small plants you see in your local Lowe's or Home Depot. And I saw this and I was a little skeptical, but I said, you know what, Pam, let's just go ahead and try it. It's a small specimen. It's not a lot of money, so if it happens to die, you won't, you know, what do I have to lose? So it was declining in this pot, and I could not keep up with the watering, I think, because of the size. So I had an idea to go ahead and put it in a self-watering pot, and it really has been a game changer for me, and it's really maintained the health of the plant. As you can see, it's liking it because it wouldn't have given me this strange, odd looking flower that it has. But you know, maybe when it matures, if I'm able to grow it to maturity, it'll start providing more blooms like this grandifolia here. So that's plant number 4. And my last and final plant, you guys, plant number 5 would be, look, I'm about to pull it up, you guys, but here I go. I literally have a brain fart. And I'm looking at this plant, I'm like, what are you? And I'm like, don't do this now. Well, I'm in the middle of a video, but here I am. Oh gosh, what is the name of this plant? Give me a second, you guys, because I don't want to show it to you. I know the name of this plant, and I just had it in my head. Oh. It came to me. I'm just my alocasia. Jeez, dragon. What's this? The dark form is alocasia. Black velvet. Golly. You know what, you guys? Honestly, sidebar. It's just me with names. I'm just noticing at this point, like, even with people, every time I introduce myself to somebody new, that's the first thing that comes out of my mouth. I say, you know what, I probably will not remember your name. Please do not take offense. But I'll remember your face for a lifetime. Or some of you out there like that, please comment below and let me know. And apparently, it's transforming from human beings to actually plant life. So that's why I'm getting like a loss for words. But this is my alocasia. Black velvet. This plant is gorgeous, you guys, and it really has been a game changer when I put it in this self-watering pot. I honestly believe I was doing a good job with maintaining the water requirements for this plant, but it was actually starting to get a little overwhelming, a little bit more so for me, in my personal opinion, than even with my prayer plants as well as my peace lilies. Because I have a little routine with them, so I kind of know when usually all of them seemingly need water at the same time, which works out great for me, you know, as far as my schedule go. But when it came to this, because I have this one and I have another one that is also in a self-watering pot. This is the black velvet. I have the actual dragon scale one sitting over there, which is growing just as beautifully and equally full. And I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful. And this, you guys, this leaf is not even finished unfurling, but this is the newest leaf. And I had some pups, you see right here, that kind of grew out on the side here. 3 little pups. So it has some, what's they called? Corms, or am I pronouncing that right? I hope I am, I don't know. But, you know, in here. And I know that they'll sprout. So hopefully there might be some more in here. The only thing that I did do, you guys, I left it in its original soil for quite some time, even when I put it in here. But I think the soil was a little bit too dense to pair up with this self-watering pot. And I think I had a leaf kind of like decline from it. So in my mind, this is my theory, you know, I don't know, there's no scientific proof behind it, but I figured if I add a little bit more aeration to the soil, and then I can have it in the self-watering pot. It'll give it an equal balance of what it really needs. And so I did change it. I made it less dense. I did put a little bit more perlite in, and I kind of kept it in the original soil because I didn't want to shock the plant too much, but I did make it a little bit more of a chunkier mix, and it tends to love it. And once again, you guys, them bags, man, I don't know what it is. What is it about these bags? I'm very impressed with it, you know, and I love the structure of the leaf. I love the feel, that hard velvetiness of it. And yeah, it's beautiful. You know what, guys? I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at this dragon scale. It's looking back at me, and telepathically, it's like telling me, okay, why aren't you putting the spotlight on me too, mommy? So give me a second. Let me just show you guys this plant. Okay, so here's the dragon scale, one that wanted the attention. And for obvious reasons, of course, it would want attention. It's very gorgeous. This leaf right here, you guys, is also a new leaf. It hasn't finished really unfurled or formed. This leaf right here is still the biggest leaf that I've had grown. And I don't know, because I think earlier on I was saying in regards to these alocasias, I was having a problem where it was just mainly, I was only able to keep like 4 leaves, and usually one would die off and one would grow, and I would stay in that cycle for quite some time. But now I'm looking at it and I have like a total of 7 leaves, and there's also a little baby, I don't know, can y'all see that little baby plant leaf growing right here? So one thing I've noticed also is by me keeping it in the self-watering pot and giving it more light than I thought has been the key in regards to my alocasias. But God, guys, look at this. I mean, the shadowing of it is what really wows me. I mean, not to mention the beautiful backs. I just love that veination in the leaf of maroon with that mint green color in the back. It's a very beautiful plant, very rewarding. So that pretty much is it, you guys. My 5 plants outside of marantas and peace lilies that require equal amounts of water and attention in regards to the watering. So y'all comment below, let me know whether or not, if any of these plants, that if you have these in your collection, have they seemed to want more attention from you in regards to watering, or if you have any thirsty loving plants in your collection that I may not have mentioned but it's in your collection, please let me know. I would love to be able to compare notes, because sometimes it does depend on a person, environment, in regards to the requirement needs of each plant. So like I said, you guys, this pretty much ends this video. Keep in mind, if you love foliage as much as I do and you love listening to planty things, you know what to do. Subscribe to this channel. Push those thumbs up, you guys. It's really been helping my channel. I appreciate the support in any form you have. Share if you feel that someone in your plant community would benefit from this video. And as always, you guys, much love wherever you are in the world. And until next time, bye.